Right. Hi, everybody. Okay,
Hello.
Katie Romagnolo here, and I'm with Jackie Thomas today. Jackie Thomas is one of my dear friends, and I wanted to jump on and have a bit of a chat with her because, oh, actually, let me get rid of this here. Because Jackie has a coaching company. She's Jackie Thomas Coaching and Consulting. And she really is just, you're so dear and near to my heart. I love you so much in the background for what a wonderful friend you are. We met through a coaching training program when we did NLP. And I know I was going through my master NLP practitioner training, but you have been trained practitioner for quite some time. I'll let you tell me how long in a moment when you share a little bit more about you and what you do. But we just connected, I think, not even on that logical level, right? Like we kind of connected more so on energy and just kind of, jiving with each other's energy. And I appreciate you so much. And I want to share with everybody in the group here. So we're actually going to broadcast this here into the Conquer Your Fear and Anxiety private Facebook group. And, Jackie, thank you for contributing to this group because I know you have so much to offer. And what's really near to my heart about the two of us that we share a connection on is this underlying sort of personality trait of being introverted. And not a lot of people know this necessarily about me, but I really do fall into the scale of introvert to extrovert quite high on the introvert scale. And I learned this later on about myself in life. And it kind of started to explain a lot why I needed to be to myself to recharge after certain big social, situations. I really felt like I wasn't that overtly extrovert in a big group. And I've learned later on in life that I like being on camera and I like talking and speaking, but that wasn't always the case. I used to be really, really, really nervous to do anything like this. And I feel like a lot of that came from being an introvert. So I'm going to let Jackie tell us a little bit more about who she is and what she does. And maybe we can chat a bit about the introvert connection that we have too. So take it away, Jackie. What do you do within your coaching work?
Well, first, a little bit about myself. I am a mother of two adult children. Who knew? Time passes. And in my coaching business, I am supporting women who are struggling with anxiety, depression, and mostly just feel like anger is just overpowering their entire world and just feeling like that is really affecting their relationship with their spouse and trickling down over to their children. So I'm super passionate about helping those women because I was one of them.
Yeah.
And as for how long I've been trained, I was got my training back in 2015, but I had first worked with a coach a couple years prior to that to really work on and heal my own stuff so that I can move forward and continue with doing this work.
Wow. And, we share a lot of that similarity where I don't know for you if you kind of intended on getting into coaching or not, but for me, I really stumbled into it by accident in, doing that work for myself first, right? In meeting that coach and being the client first.
Absolutely. And no, I had actually was already in a career and had stumbled across this through reconnecting with a high school friend, which is actually our trainer. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that you two had that connection. Laura, right?
Yeah, we were actually in kindergarten classes together.
Oh, isn't that just so amazing where you kind of look back over your life and it's like, oh, wait, here's a little hint of someone that's going to be important later on in a different capacity for you, right?
Yeah. It's super powerful. And I'm always looking back over my life and seeing where people have come in and fit into the purpose, reason, or season or lifetime of how they fit into my life. So that's it's really interesting.
Oh, so cool. I love that, where things happen just organically and naturally. And it's not that you had, set on this path to decide this is what I'm going to be. Since a little girl, I wanted to be a coach, right? And it just kind of happened for you.
That was not on my radar at all, actually. But I'm glad that I'm here.
Oh, me too. I mean, we wouldn't have met, right? I'm so grateful you've chosen the path that you have. So
Absolutely.
Before within your work? Like, were you always an entrepreneur or have that entrepreneur kind of spirit and grit to you?
I think I've actually always had an entrepreneurial spirit, but no, coaching is really the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey. First, I got into the healthcare system working as a PSW, which is a personal support worker, and then just had the strong desire to be able to do more and went to school and became a registered practical nurse, which is what I've been doing for the last 10 years.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. And just for everything that you must be doing and going through in the background of everything over this last year too. And, my mom was a nurse, so I really have a lot of appreciation for that particular field of work. And so thank you as well for just your energy and spirit there that you probably bring into your coaching work now.
I am using that absolutely because I can appreciate where caregivers come from. And it's really important for caregivers, I think, to learn to actually first care for themselves, which I'm noticing with many caregivers that is not the case. It's not the case for everyone. There are some caregivers that are able to manage caring for themselves, but it's really, really challenging. And caregiver role, is more than just nursing. It's moms. It's anybody who has had to care for another person who is not well. So a lot of people fall into that category, and it can be really challenging to, take care of yourself while also taking care of the other people in your life.
Yeah. And what a great point, right? Because I think a lot of people that get into, whether it's coaching or mental health or physical health in some capacity, if you're doing that in career, it really comes from a person that cares, right? That has this, I want to help and I want to do well for those around me, but also remembering how to do well for yourself first is a hard lesson. I think, I've been guilty of it myself too, right? Of feeling like I'm giving from that empty cup sometimes, and having to take it back a notch and say, I'm no good to anybody unless I'm taking care of myself first, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can fall into that trap, and I think it's an ongoing practice, right? Like, because life just gets busy, life keeps lifing. I hear that statement, and it really does. Life keeps lifing. We get busy, and we forget. We need to do things to fill our cup. So yeah. You can't do things without fueling your body. It's like you think of your body like a car. If you don't put gas and do the maintenance work on it, it's not going to work for you.
Excellent point, right? Well said. I like that analogy.
I love
for
it.
sure. Well, so Jackie, getting back to kind of this connection that we have on, feeling like being an introvert in a world of business, and how does that show up for you? Do you find that it's created any challenges in your business and feeling more on the introvert scale, and how have you overcome those, if anything?
Again, I think that is more of a practice, but the challenge that I face at times is putting myself out there, reaching out to people so that they know that I'm here. I love people and I love to connect to people, but like yourself, it's recognizing that I need to actually be by myself to recharge my batteries. So that introversion piece for me is really just being able to put myself out there and make those connections with people. Overcoming it's a practice. I use the tools that we have in our NLP, and I utilize the coaches. We have a wonderful community of coaches to support one another. So that helps me heal my stuff while also learning more about myself. And the more I learn about myself, I have a better appreciation for me as well as everybody else within my world. And I feel like I can understand people from a better perspective when I can understand myself better. And I think that helps me move forward with reaching out and moving beyond a boundary per se of being an introvert, because although I may be high on the introversion spectrum, that doesn't mean that I can't utilize skills of being an extrovert, because I do love being around people, and I can, be the life of the party, if you will, and stand up and do things. Like, I love performing music, like throughout high school, and I even signed up for Canadian Idol.
Did you
So
really?
I really did. Yes, I went
Oh
for it.
my goodness.
I was so scared, but yeah, it was an amazing experience. And even from like when I go on vacations, I'll go and I'll do karaoke, and it scares me so much to stand in front of a crowd. But really, once I get into it and I'm singing and I'm doing it, it's like I'm in the moment, and all I really care about is how I feel in that moment, with a side piece of wanting the people there to be enjoying it as well along with me. So I really do, I push myself to go beyond those boundaries of stepping out of just, staying inside of a box of introversion.
Yeah. And what a great example of conquering your fear, right? Like doing the thing that feels good to you. You enjoy it, on a big level when you're up there doing it. But it's like breaking through that boundary of fear that says, well, as an introvert, I don't know if this is what introverts do. Well, hell yeah. Yeah. We do.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's more about, I think for me, I really had to learn taking off the label of things, right? To say that introvert has nothing to do with being too shy or too this or too that to do something. It's more about, what do I need after I've pulled out some of those skills and abilities? What do I need to recharge that part of me after? Like, how do I sustain the level of things I'm passionate about, or going and connecting with people? What happens for me afterwards? Do I feel depleted after I've had a big day of, maybe just talking with people one-on-one, or being in a group or a crowd, or even shopping, right? Like going out to stores can be draining for some people. And that's oftentimes a good indicator of being an introvert, but just learning more about yourself to say, hey, I need this recharge time for me to be able to then come back to my full light again, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree.
Oh,
Wholeheartedly.
yeah. Learning about ourselves first, right? Like you said it really, really well. It helps you to understand others by really understanding yourself first, and coming from that basis of knowledge.
For sure.
So, Jackie, let me ask you this. If you could go back to your childhood and tell yourself one thing, what would it be that you would need to know?
I would need to know about moving beyond that boundary box of being within the comfort zone. So that box of being in your comfort zone, where we feel comfortable. I learned this concept much later in my life, but learning to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because this is where growth and development comes from. And you don't, I mean, this happens throughout your life, but having that concept and understanding it, and really, really grasping what it means to really just learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that's where good things come from, right?
Yeah.
Like if we're staying in the same thing over and over again, it becomes monotonous, it becomes boring. Our souls need much more than that. We need to grow, we need to develop, we need to and we need these things to enjoy our lives. So yeah, if I had that tidbit, I think I may not have waited like 15, 20 years to come out of my shell.
Right? Yeah.
I think I may have come out of my shell a little bit sooner, and would have practiced more of recognizing that it's okay to feel uncomfortable, because great things are just on the other side of this discomfort. Just keep going.
Yeah. Oh, I love that advice. I definitely needed that in my younger years as well. And to learn something so within our practitioner training, that we learned was that don't calibrate your success on your emotions, right? Like the moment that you're feeling uncomfortable, I think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of this myself, is you say, well, that's not for me. No, that doesn't feel right. Like, I'm not quite sure that's for me. And that's how we start to take ourselves out of these really amazing opportunities or connections with people, is by saying that doesn't feel good to me, when maybe it's just discomfort because it's new, right? And we haven't learned that discomfort is okay. How do you get through it unless you get through it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great advice.
It's a part of our brain, right? It's the amygdala's fight, flight, or freeze. Anything new, your brain's like, hold on, stop
Exactly.
here.
Yeah.
So having that information would really help. It would have helped myself to move forward. So
yeah, I think a lot of this. So thanks for that. Now, what are you working on next in your career right now?
Right now, I am working on a free master class so that people can join me for an hour-long master class with exciting information on reclaiming your joy during a pandemic.
Oh, how needed.
Yeah, I'm working on that right now, building it all together. So my goal is to have it out before year end so that people can start 2021 with a big bang.
Oh, congratulations. I am so excited you're doing that. It's just so needed right now. And, you know, for people to come into their full light, right? Watching you do what you love to do, what you're great at doing, just gives all of us that permission to say, hey, like, I could do this too. I could do what I'm passionate about. And like, look at Jackie. She's able to live this life where, you know, you're filled with passion and purpose, and you're amazing at what you do, Jackie. I'm so fortunate to know you. And I'm just so proud and excited for you in this next chapter. Congratulations.
Thank
you. You're welcome. So do you have any tips for anybody today? So this group here where we're sharing first is in the support group for anybody who's looking to conquer their fear or anxiety, right? Do you have any tips that you want to share with anybody who's listening or might be struggling with anxiety?
Absolutely. I've got a whole plethora of tips, but I will share just the few that I find have been extremely helpful for me. So number one, breathing. If we can incorporate taking breaths and just focusing on breathing for a moment, and this is like taking deep breaths just for a minute of your day. And what this does is it actually changes your nervous system so that you are in a calmer state. And if you practice this on a regular basis, then it actually creates an ongoing calmer state for you. So thus reducing your anxiety, the attacks, and the intensity of the anxiety.
Wow.
So that would be my number one tip.
Yeah.
Number two, I would suggest journaling. Journaling helps us to gain awareness around what's going on in our lives. First, it can be like a dumping of all of your feelings. So you're just letting it go, getting it off of your chest by writing it out and just getting it out there. But it can also support you in gaining awareness around your anxieties and around whatever issues you're experiencing in your life. Next, I would encourage exercise, going for walks, especially in nature. The palms of our hands they take us to the heart chakra. So actually rubbing our hands together and placing them on a tree will ground you and bring you back to earth. Just really giving you that sense of calm. Again, it's all around building a sense of calm for you, because the calm is going to conquer that anxiety.
Wow.
Of course, establishing and doing your best to follow morning and night rituals. So like having a morning routine, whatever that looks like for you. It could be taking a few minutes of meditation. It could just be having that moment of quiet to journal, whatever you need to do in your morning. And then also taking time in the evening as a ritual to just really do a little bit of self-care and avoiding technology, because technology is actually a stimulus. So if we're watching TV or if we're on our phones, that actually keeps the mind going, which is, going to set us up for not a great sleep. So everything's in cycles, right? If you set yourself up for a good sleep, then you're going to set yourself up for a good morning. And if you have a good morning ritual, then you set yourself up for a great day, and just repeat the cycle. Play. Play is so important. The opposite of play is not work. The opposite of play is depression. So if we are not incorporating play in our weekly lives, then chances are you're at risk for depression. And who wants that?
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, last night I spent some time playing. For me, playing is singing and playing with my dog, taking her for walks, and also painting, which I've posted a couple of new pictures on Facebook. Well, I painted one last night. It was a copy of another one that I had done several months ago. But that is play for me, because I'm like, play is being in the moment and where you lose time. Like, you're not thinking about the time, you're just in the moment and you're enjoying what you're doing. That is play. And that is like different for everyone. And of course, last but not least is nourishing your body with healthy food and beverage, because what we put into our bodies is what we're going to get out. So a lot of us may not notice, but if we are eating candy, chips, junk, and like just foods that are highly processed and lots of sugar, then we actually physically feel yuck. Whereas when we are incorporating drinking water and nutritious foods, and that is different for everyone. I'm not here to dictate what a healthy diet is, because there's some people who need more protein. There's some people who need and want more vegetables. Some people need a variety. Like, it's different for everyone. But what is healthy for you is what your body needs in order to function really well. So those are my tips.
Oh, such powerful tips. Thank you so much, because I feel like we covered, or you covered really a spectrum of something that each and every person can grab from within all of those tips, and really listening to your body. So I've even known this noticed this between my husband and I, that he's the one who cooks in our household. And I'm fortunate in that sense that he does, but I'll notice that certain things for him that he'll have and he'll take and he'll eat on a regular basis will affect him differently than me in the mood capacity, right? Like his mood will drastically shift. He's very, very sensitive if he's having a lot of those, like you said, processed foods, sugary sweets or anything like that. They immediately affect him, because he's really fine-tuned his body at this point to say, I know what feels good for me, and I immediately then know what doesn't. So pay attention to, when you're eating certain things, how does your mood reflect afterwards, right? Do you feel sluggish or slow or foggy, or, all the way into the depression can really happen from eating things that are not good for our bodies, right?
Yeah, because if you're not feeling good physically, then it also affects your mind and whether or not you're thinking clearly. So it's just, all of it is all connected, which results in depression, anxiety, and it heightens those emotions for us. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for all of those tips. And Jackie, it's been such an amazing pleasure with you today. And it's been too long since we've connected, just here and there, but we've been, a distance apart. I've moved away from you last year, but I still remember our last time. Well, I guess it wasn't the last time we saw each other, but time before that, our yoga session, our aerial yoga session was just pretty awesome. So I'm looking forward to, after all of this craziness in the world is coming to an end, that we can spend some time and maybe go to another yoga class together.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for being here today. And I look forward to talking with you more. Everybody, reach out to Jackie if you have any more questions on what it is that she does within her coaching work. And I'm sure she'd be happy to connect with you on social media as well. So reach out, and she'll probably give you some more tips on what to do during this pandemic with your masterclass coming up soon. So as soon as that's ready, let us know, and I'll be sure to post it in the group here as well. All right.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.